Hello, I'm Kim Gregory, and I'm really happy to be here today. And this is my very first PowerPoint, What Could Go Wrong? In other words, scary stuff happens all the time. And I come to you to talk about preparing your client to face the media in the trenches, because I am not calm when it comes to facing the media. I still am not. I was not calm when I was on the air. To this day, well, no, I've actually gotten a little bit better, but when I hear a news open play, I still get a little, oh no, you know. And I showed up on the press club bloopers more times than I care to say. One time I tried to say compensatory about 5 times and finally went, the comp time, because I had 10 seconds to do a promo. A lot can go wrong with live TV, and you know, and I was even trained in this, so you can imagine, you know, when you go to say to your client, yay, I got KUAT and they want to talk to you today at 3. What would be your client or your faculty member or someone on your staff's reaction to that? Would it be yay or, I'm sorry, no, I feel a little sick, I need to go. I mean, can anybody relate to this if you had to prepare a client? Okay, I'm seeing nodding heads. Who has clients or staff, or in our case faculty, who are just thrilled to go before the media? It's really scary. I could not agree more with you, and that's probably what I try and, you know, talk to people about. But the thing, oh, this is nice. Okay, wardrobe malfunctions, another thing that can happen. Yeah, quick tip, don't let your client, if they have a wireless mic, walk off with it, because it picks up everything. Like, I did it, I killed them all. It can happen, okay. I think that all doctors should be patients, and I also think all journalists should be interviewed. So I would go to interview somebody and I go, I don't know why they're so nervous. You know, it's just a camera, it's just a 9-inch lens. And then I was interviewed by Entertainment Tonight because I had done a story about a beauty queen who somehow wound up in prostitution. She wound up getting killed, and it was here in Ventura County. Entertainment Tonight was interested in that story. I also was at a presentation that Dr. Phil was at, so I was the only one to get, you know, what he said. So I was interviewed twice because he won't give media interviews. So I go down there and I am interviewed. I didn't sleep the night before, and the night afterwards I'm like, I know I look really stupid. Oh my God, I'm going to look really fat. I'm going to look, and I did. I looked really bad. I said all kinds of stupid stuff. But I thought, this is terrifying. This is terrifying, and I need to really realize that for the people that I interview. And it's really helped as I've transitioned into this career, because I'm just as scared as they are when I go on the air. So I validate that, you know, because intellectually they know it's a good thing. We know it's a good thing. It's never been more important. Have you seen the debates? It's never been more important, especially for an academic institution, to get out there and educate people, to get out there, and we need to get out of our buildings, and we need to talk. We need to, the organizations, the law enforcement, county, get out there, talk. It's important because media resources are dwindling. And it's never been, and we are becoming our own sources. So we need to take on, I think, some of the journalistic standards in terms of showing, not telling when we speak. Show them we're a great organization. Don't tell them, show them. Have the expertise, you know, because nothing will turn off a journalist more than hearing, we are awesome. We are fabulous. Okay, show me, show me. So I prefer to say, this is a professor, and have that professor, and there is no shortage of them, thank God, in the area where I work at CI, and CLU too. And we can just, my faculty has been fantastic. They all agree, no matter how terrified they are. We have a radio show that we do bi-weekly, KVTA, and I just bring on an expert. And I had more than one so terrified. One of them brought footnotes. She goes, I brought footnotes. And I'm like, it's okay, you're not having to defend your thesis. You could just kind of, you know, speak conversationally. And that's all people want. It's terrifying. So I always try to validate that. I will tell you war stories now and then, mine and others, to let you know what can befall you when you go live. For example, Fred Albers, our news guy, our general manager's name was Richard Pearson, and he was discussing him on the air live, and he called him Richard Nixon, so that was good. Another time I meant to say, and this is very early in my career, this is in Texas, I meant to say, the space shuttle is sitting. I did not say that. Which is why I have my spirit animal, the honey badger. Who knows about the honey badger? Yes, okay, good, because they're like, honey badger, what's that? This is the theme for my wedding. If something goes wrong, the 7-year-old crawls under the table. A golf ball hits my groom in the head. You know what honey badger says?
Oh, it runs backwards?
It says all kinds of different things, but
It's a honey badger.
it doesn't care. We are becoming our own news sources. We definitely are over at CI, because the resources, when I left the Ventura County Star, we were getting like cakes every other day, going away cakes. I mean, people they're just getting smaller and smaller due to a number of forces. For academics, and I said this before, we're educators. We need to educate. We need to educate on so many fronts. This is so important because there are so many news sources out there that we need to become our own critical thinkers. We need to look at different sources that don't necessarily agree with us so that we can, there's an old it's an old guy. Okay, see, yeah, it's early morning. He said, let truth and falsehood grapple, for truth will always prevail. So listen to more than one news source, because these days you're not getting vetted news sources. Journalism is important, and we need to, I believe, as PR professionals. I like the media. I'm one of the only people on the face of the earth. I like the media. I know they're there for a democracy, and in my 34 years, Nancy was really sweet. She goes, more than 30, it was 34. Okay, it was really a lot. But she's like, and she was 12. I've never once had a journalist say, now how can I spin this today? They're not making enough money. They don't have any time. They can barely get, there's not consensus anyway. It's just not happening, at least not in my neck of the woods. Now, there are journalism sources that are very obviously Fox News, MSNBC, that are one way or the other. It's very important to watch both, very important to watch both, because you will know the difference. And that's why, again, we need to get out there with all of our organizations, like exactly what you were saying. It's so important, and I really like that you're saying that. For law enforcement, government, the more openness, the more trust. This was my experience at the Ventura County Star. For businesses, see above. For hospitals, see above. We got to trust these organizations. These are organizations that are there for us. Another war story, because I like war stories. This is Fred again. Fred, our sports guy, was talking one time, and he was giving sports, and there's a fly. And all you can watch was this fly. This fly, this fly. And the co-anchor and I are like trying to kill it and all this stuff. So you see his hands coming out like this. Fly goes right in Fred's mouth. Fred swallowed it and kept talking. So Christmas time came along. We gave him a great big plastic fly and said, here's the mother of your former snack. Says she wants her baby back. I know, it's awesome. Okay. News is immediate. There's no avoiding the microphone. People, you'll have some that say, well, I'll talk to the print media, but I really am afraid of the microphone. You can't do that anymore. They want it updating, even print media. They've got to update their website all the time, and that's what we were told. Get it, what's going on? You've got an editor hanging over you going, you done yet? You done yet? You done what? And you're like, really helpful. Thank you, very helpful. These are some of the excuses I've run into, and I'd love to hear some of yours. The media will take me out of context and make me look bad. And I have actually had people tell me when I was in the media, don't misquote me and don't take me out of context. And I went, yes, I'm unprofessional, thank you. I got told that all the time. Don't edit me. Well, I'm too busy. Talk to them for me. In some cases, there are some situations where the actual source needs to talk to the journalist because they will always ask more questions. They don't just want an answer to one question. Because you get off the phone, if you're a journalist, and your editor goes, why didn't you ask that? And you have to do that as a journalist because we are a free and independent society. And for example, with the Brussels attacks, and we lived in Brussels for 3 years, how else do we know what's going on? What if there were no media? What if there were no journalism? Someone's got to tell you exactly what's going on. The nice thing about video, you can't take them out of context. Video's right there. And video is everywhere, including print media. Isn't that the same radio station that carries Rush Limbaugh or Rachel Maddow? No way. Too liberal, too conservative. I won't go on there. I'll come off really bad on camera, on the radio, in print. I can relate. Why can't I read it before it goes to print? I can't tell you how many times I've been asked that, and it's like, well, not in America. No. And that's one of the beauties of our fourth estate here. Have them just go to, I'd like to direct you to my website. Journalists don't have time, you know. Can they just email me the questions? A couple of reasons for that. They usually won't. They won't email questions to you. And also, if you have your client email questions back, they sound really rehearsed. And after a while, it's so dense. It's like a really bad, it's like a word Tetris. You know, you just get this big, dense block of words that means nothing. And the journalist will go, yeah, okay, I'm done. What it really means, translation. I'll sound stupid. I'll say something wrong. I'm scared. I'll stutter, sweat, choke, faint, or just look fat. What will my boss think? They'll use just 10 seconds of what I say, and that's true. They will absolutely use 10 seconds of what you say, because the news is 22 minutes. I used to produce it, the primetime news, and then we'd have to do promos in the middle of the night too, or in the middle of the evening while we're writing. So if you do a rehearsal with your client, academic staff member, talk to them and get them to, because they got this, they know their subject matter, they really do. And if you can help them to self-contain, and they will be able to tell you conversationally, I call it a hey Martha. It's like, just tell me, because I've had academics, they didn't sign up for this. These poor people, it's like, hi, yeah, you get to go. Here's a microphone. Hi, talk. They didn't sign up for this. So just have them talk to you. And they're all fascinating. I love what I do because every day there's somebody doing something fascinating that I get to talk to. I talked to one art professor, I just love her. And I had gotten this big, long, very dense explanation of this fellowship that she got. And I said, tell me about, you'd have to do a little reporting, I think, these days, as a media professional, as a public relations professional, as a marketing professional. Because the media is, they're having to go through a whole lot of press releases, so engage them. Well, I was talking with her, and I said, how did you get this fellowship? What made you go into art history? And she said, well, it was the Church of St. Elijah. It's clinging to a hillside right outside of Rome. And I went and I visited one day. It was the afternoon, and the light came through with the dust motes on these ancient paintings, and I fell in love. Did we get it covered? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Allison. She was wonderful. But that's all you got to do. Just get to know them as people and connect on the emotional level. And reporters are human, too. They're going to connect, and they know their readers are going to connect. Time and resources, like I was saying, are at a premium with professional print, radio, TV, bloggers and social media, not so much, but they're not vetted. Media does want to get it right, or they will lose their most important asset, their credibility. They do want to get it right. They don't want to misquote you. I never did. I would call back, and there was one, speaking of not slanting the news, there was one talk show host I interviewed, and I loathed her with the white-hot hatred of 1,000 suns, and I had to interview her. I thought she was doing damage to women. I interviewed her, and I wrote it down, and I had 3 other people look at it. Was I fair? Did I give her, a fair shot at this, regardless of my opinion? Because we are professionals. As media, they are professionals. We are professionals as media consultants now, as communication specialists. We are professionals. We set aside our opinion, and we give everybody a fair shot. And she called me the next day, and she goes, well, you're not the regular journalist, I can tell, because she just praised me to the high heavens. So I did my job. I did my job. And I feel their pain. I have screwed up so many times. This was me many pounds and many years ago with Gary Warner. He was my co-anchor. He is, interestingly enough, the prototype for Ron Burgundy. He is. He went to CNN for a while. He was a good friend. He went to CNN for a while, and all of a sudden I saw Ron Burgundy, and I was like, oh my God, it's Gary. And sure enough, he was the most professional newsman I think I'd ever met. I have screwed up all over the place. Like I said, I showed up and showed up and showed up on the, and one of them, Nancy says, I can't tell you, but if you come to me afterwards, I'll tell you what it was, because it was really bad. There was another TV reporter. We went to her live. She was waiting to go live. It was in Texas, Julia. And there we are, and we're just talking away, and she didn't know we had gone to her. We were supposed to roll voiceover, and instead we went to Julia, and she's standing there, you know, just kind of like this. And then somebody walked by and said something rude to her, and she goes, and right at that very moment, they were announcing that the new university president has been chosen today. Yeah, and so, you know, and UTEP has chosen their new university president, and there's old Julia, you know, so that was nice. Yeah, she showed up too, fortunately. She threw me off the blooper reel that year. The media are human too. They have a job to do. And as we do, and it's an important job that can't be replaced with social media or bloggers. If you don't like or trust them, they know it. They can feel it. And they will try, but subconsciously that's not going to be to your benefit. Short, abrupt answers will make you look like you're dodging something and make your client look like they're dodging something. So be as relaxed as you possibly can. Been there, screwed that up a lot. That's me and Sam Donaldson. I had to introduce him at a banquet. He's from El Paso. His mom lives there. And I forgot who he was. I got up and it's like, and this is Sam Donaldson. And I was like, what is his last name? I was just so nervous, and because he was awesome. And so he was Sam Donaldson, and I forgot who he was or what he did and everything. And it was like the worst introduction ever. He could not have been more gracious. Preparing your client. Tell them you got this. In the end, it's them alone in front of the media. Keep it simple, and this is especially for academics. Again, the academics, they're good at what they do. They didn't sign up for this. Most of them, it's so difficult for them to dumb it down. I went to a biotech dinner, and I walked in and realized, and the collective IQ dropped about 10 points the minute I walked in the door. And I actually went up to somebody and I said, I am not smart enough to interview you. So you just really got to talk down. I'm fifth grade. And she was, you know, our faculty really is, again, I'm going to try and show you rather than tell you. Because if I tell you our faculty is so cooperative, so knowledgeable, so collegial, it's like, no, show me, Kim. If you tell me that, who's not going to say that? I got to show you. And I'm going to show you with examples and tell your client that too. Speak in pictures if you can. Give examples. Avoid jargon. I wish I'd put that in italics. Now, when you go to newspapers or digital reporters, they want more detail. Go for it. But radio or TV, you can't go into the history of why there was an oil spill in Summerland and da-da-da-da-da. You got to say, yeah, that's bad. We're trying to, you know, but help them distill it down. No, they can't see it before it's published. Again, and acknowledge that it's scary. But again, as my colleague here said, it's very important, especially now. But acknowledge it, validate those feelings, because the more that you don't validate the feelings and go, oh, it's nothing, it's really nothing, and you minimize it, the more those feelings grow. That's very, very human. And intellectually, you can't really convince, they know what's important, they got it. But here, that's what they're struggling with. They say, yeah, this is really scary. And if you have a situation where you had to give a presentation and you were scared out of your wits, share it. Because in the end, we're all human. We're also the translators. So when you rehearse with your client, suggest some alternate words they might want to use. And I'm curious about this. You guys are from all different types. Do you have some jargon words that your people tend to use and you're like, And what happens with jargon, if it's been around too long, is it starts to become invisible. And I can tell you this as somebody who used to field news releases all day long. Instead of experiential learning opportunities for students through interaction with community partners. I'm sorry, I fell asleep. It gives our girls a chance to learn all about science, math, and technology with different local companies. Say that instead, just simple, simple, simple. Here are some of the words that are becoming invisible through no fault of their own. And they were great words when they came out, but we've used them for so many things, they're sort of like a really old, tattered dish rag. Impact, leverage. We're excited to, whatever, giving back to the community, utilize instead of use. Just say use, people, just say use. In fact, the word utilize means use something for which it was not originally intended. Say use, okay. Impact, again, because I wanted to make an impact with the word impact. Stakeholders, kill me now, drill down, reach out, circle back.
Best practices.
Thank you, yes. Who loves evidence-based? Who loves evidence-based? Oh, yeah. For academics. Pedagogy, I'm going, oh, I had to look it up, okay, because I'm stupid. Okay, corporate stinkers. These are for all you corporate people. Uber Super Networks, a leading provider of video platforms, announces a strategic relationship with Awesome Face Technologies, Inc., the leader empowering rich media, dynamic transactions, and enterprise applications, online, innovative, utilize, leverage. Okay. Translation to media. I don't have time to translate into English, into the circular file, or send it to a coworker I don't like. Okay, so help them translate and say, okay, what do you mean? And that's the hard thing. The real balancing act is, because they got to go on, and it's just going to be them, is maintain their confidence in themselves and at the same time help. At the same time, well, how about this? Are you saying this? Paraphrase for them, and it'll really, really help. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I hear some of these stinkers, it's like, oh, hurt me now. Okay, this is my favorite one. Bad hair and bats in the cave. Bipartisan bad hair. There are, this is my favorite part. Sometimes your person is going to be interviewed, this has happened to me like 4 times already, as a bat in the cave. Who knows what that metaphor means? Alrighty then, yeah, I'm standing there going, oh man, the TV crew's going to show up, and here you are with a bat in the cave. Just say, here's a tissue. You might want to, here's a tissue. Just take care of it. You know, just take care of it. I would appreciate it. I'm like, oh, thank you, my God, please, thank you. Okay. And another time these are some of our favorite professors, but let me go back to the bat in the cave because it's so much fun. We have one professor, and I know he won't mind. Oh, no, wait, I was going to tell you a story about when I was a journalist. I went to interview a minister who was starting his own church. And can I tell this one, Nancy? Okay, good, thanks. I do.
We don't have any ministers.
No, we don't have any ministers. We're good. Okay. And he's sitting there. We're waiting for the photographer, and I realize his barn door is open. Anybody? Metaphor? Okay. His fly is down. And I was sitting there, and he's talking to me, and he goes, yeah, we want to have the church doors wide open. I'm like, no. So the photographer shows up, and it was James Glover. James shows up, and he's shooting my wedding on Saturday. Anyway, he shows up, and he goes, so I go, excuse me, Pastor. And so I run into the kitchen, I go, James, he's going to do something. And he goes, well, I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him. You have to tell him. And so this poor pastor's listening to stuff. No, I'm going to tell him. Everything okay in there? Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. James never told him. I didn't have the guts to tell him. I regret it. And so James shoots him. He goes, why don't we put this palm tree kind of right here? It goes in the paper, the palm tree. But, you know, just tell the guy. Just tell him. And I have learned since then, just tell him. We also have we have some professors that are such characters. These are some of our favorites. But this is our KVTA interview that we do. I will never run out of subject matter. And our faculty is so cooperative. Even if they're scared, they go on. And I appreciate that. She is looking at, this is Dr. Tavermina. I want to talk about how important this stuff is. She's finding a microbe that may be able to actually eat some of the hydrocarbons, oil and gas spills that are poisoning the, we're talking climate change, methane. She's finding methane eating these, again, I'm too stupid to know what she does, but basically they're munching. They munch the methane. And she's so humble that I had to just say, Patricia, you got to get out and say somebody. And tell somebody, we've got fantastic research going on. We have stem cell research going on. You may eventually be able to replace a cornea, an arm, diabetes. This is going on. We just got a grant, to help the students that want to go into stem cell research. There's so much going on. Honestly, I could clone myself 4 times and still not be able to cover what's going on at this university. This guy's my favorite. I'm sorry, I admit it. He's my favorite. That's Sean Anderson, and this is him, one of his students, setting up a live feed for KUAT-TV. They wanted to talk to him, and it's not the first time. When I called him to go on KUAT, he's always a willing spirit, very good with the media. Called him the first time he was up in Newberry Park, and I went, KUAT wants to interview you. I think it was the Refugio oil spill, and this guy is Mr. Dr. Oil Spill. And he goes, I'm wearing an offensive t-shirt. He's always wearing an offensive t-shirt, just what he does, you know. It's like rehab is for quitters, you know, oh no. And I go, well, KUAT is coming up there right now. Well, I'm in Newbury Park, and I'm picking up my son at Boy Scouts. And I went, borrow a shirt. And so he just got a shirt from somebody else. So he goes on KUAT in a tight-fitting shirt and did a great job. And he always does just like that. In this particular case, this one I had to loop Nancy into we said he was going to grant meetings. He was busy all day. And I said, KUAT wants to interview you. And he goes, oh, okay. So went over, and I had his students set up this. This is a camera, and they set up a Skype feed. And once again, he had on an offensive t-shirt. Now, he wears a shirt over it, you know, but he's a character. And so I call Nancy, and Nancy has to run over to the bookstore and get him a shirt. So Nancy runs over and gives him his Channel Island shirt, and he runs over and sits in front of it and does a beautiful interview. But he is a character, and he, again, under his shirt, he's always got his personality on whatever shirt he's got, his t-shirts. He loves his t-shirts. Media is your friend. They really do want good stories. This is Phil Hampton. He's a brilliant chemist that we have. And here he's making a three-dimensional prosthetic for a Chihuahua. He called me, we're going to do another story, and he goes, I said, when are you going to be in your office? He says, well, first I got to go over and I got to fit this Chihuahua with a prosthetic. And I went, what? So that's another thing you can help them do is find their own story. And I went, what? And so I got on and started pitching. Even before I left the house, I started just calling people. And the Star answered. We had Los Angeles television. We had Santa Barbara, KUAT. We had a lot of coverage. And he's doing a fantastic thing. Here he is. He's really comfortable with the camera. He was on the floor calling the Chihuahua. But like I said, this is kind of, these are our faculty. They are very cool. They're very knowledgeable, and they're very approachable. I mean, really comfortable. This is Sean, good old Sean again, and this time he's got on a great t-shirt. And he does, doesn't he? Okay. Anyway, here he is talking to KUAT about the oil spill. Students too. We get our students involved too, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting for them to be on TV. Cheat sheet for your client. Be prepared. Be friendly. Anybody seen Bill Belichick? I don't know. What do you think? I know. You know, and people don't like that. And it's not just the media, it's the public. The media is giving information to the public. Rehearse your talking points, but be careful of pivoting them too much. And again, I talk about the debates. We all know when they're pivoting to their talking points. And I think one reason that Donald Trump has been as successful as he has been, there are a number of reasons, is he just speaks plainly. He speaks plainly. And I think people are really tired of jargon. I think they're really tired of it. You are allergic to no comment? No comment. Say something, we're gonna try and get that for you. Or, you know, just anything you can say, but no comment never comes off well. You guys already know that. And don't communicate with email only. I had one executive do that, and it came out so badly. And it also let me know she didn't trust me or anybody. She did that to the entire place. And then something happened that we felt we should investigate. And because, you know, it makes you wonder if somebody's only willing to communicate with email. It's like, you know, what's going on here? And you as a journalist have to figure that out. Be honest. Be honest. You know, don't lie to the media or have your client lie. I know you guys want. And this is important, exactly like you said, this is so important, especially now. And then remind them, you got this. You can do this, and they can, and they always do. And afterwards, and if something goes wrong, you know, we remember Adele. Do we hate her because she completely screwed up on the Grammys? No, we love her more. And when somebody was defensive, I found I got even more dogged about getting through the truth because I thought they must be hiding something. I got pushed at a health reform gathering. I had someone come up to me. I've gotten so much abuse as a reporter and say, I read your garbage. The editorial tells you what to write. And I said, no, that's not true. You know, we're completely separate. The editorial page is different. And I realized that there needs to be a lot more education out there about what the differences are, you know, in terms of the firewall between advertising and editorial. And why should people know? You know, they shouldn't know. This is not their area. So I find it sometimes up to us to explain it, up to the media to get out and speak as much as they can about the way it really is. And I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. And the media is your friend. Oh, and if your client really gets stuck and scared to death, like I said, the world's going to keep turning. Remember what happened to Adele. Do we forgive her? Again, we do. We love her all the more. And I appreciate, like I said, our people are such a good sport. And if something screws up, just remember my spirit animal, the honey badger. You don't care. Your client doesn't care. The world's going to keep turning. Honey badger.
Thanks for the treat, stupid.
He's always going to remember. So you guys, thanks so much, and I will entertain any questions if you have them. Thank you.